A physicist rigged his hamster's wheel to a sensor, logged 10 miles on Strava, and the API accepted every byte without asking a single question. The hamster is real. The wheel is real. The upload endpoint is production Strava. This is not a hack. It is a perfectly valid fit file writing through a perfectly valid OAuth flow to a perfectly valid athlete profile. Strava could verify GPS coherence across consecutive points. It could flag speeds outside human physiological range. It could check heart rate plausibility. It could correlate timestamps with accelerometer patterns. It does absolutely none of those things at upload time. Step 1. The Hamster's app opens Strava's authorization endpoint with client ID and requested scopes. Step 2. The physicist logs in with his Strava credentials and clicks Authorize to grant read-write activity permissions. Step 3. Strava's OAuth server returns a bearer access token. The token proves the physicist owns the account. It does not ask if the athlete is 4 inches long and covered in fur. Post to /uploads. Authorization bearer token in the header. Content type multi-part form data wrapping the binary payload. File attachment. 1.fit file. Activity type field. The string run. That is the entire contract between client and server. The wheel has a magnetic Hall effect sensor that counts rotations. The microcontroller measures the wheel circumference in centimeters and multiplies rotations by circumference to compute distance. It stamps each data record with a UTC timestamp from the onboard real-time clock. Out comes a structurally valid fit file with timestamp records, latitude-longitude set to 00 for every point, a cumulative distance field in meters, and heart rate absent. Strava's upload parser opens the fit file and verifies the file header magic bytes. It runs a CRC checksum to confirm the file was not corrupted in transit. It checks that the bearer access token in the request is valid and not revoked. It checks the rate limit bucket to ensure the account has not exceeded quota. Then it accepts the upload. That is all. The fit file declares every single GPS coordinate as latitude 0, longitude 0. That location is called Null Island, the point in the Atlantic Ocean where the equator crosses the prime meridian. Strava accepts it without question. No marathon training loop on Earth has ever been run here. No human athlete has swum 4,000 miles to this buoy to start their morning jog. The coordinate is structurally valid and semantically absurd. Zero validation runs on GPS coordinate variance, elevation change, or geographical plausibility. The system checks that the field is a parsable float. It does not check that the float describes a place where humans run. Strava rate limits uploads to 200 requests per 15 minutes and 1,000 requests per day. A single fit file upload consumes exactly 1 request token from each bucket. The hamster uploads once per day. Both buckets refill on a timer. The 15-minute bucket grants 200 fresh tokens every quarter hour. The daily bucket grants 1,000 fresh tokens at midnight UTC. The hamster's single upload per day is invisible to rate limiters designed to catch API floods. Rate limits catch volume floods. They do not catch implausible content. A bot uploading 100 requests per minute hits the limit and receives HTTP 429. The hamster uploading 1 request per day sails through without triggering a single throttle. Rate limiters count events. They do not evaluate plausibility. A human marathon runner logs 26.2 miles with a GPS track snaking across city streets, heart rate climbing from 70 to 160 beats per minute, and a finish time between 2 and 4 hours. The hamster logs 10 miles at GPS coordinate 00 with no heart rate data and 8 hours of intermittent wheel running spread across a workday. Both uploads pass validation. Both land in the database. Both count as legitimate activities. The OAuth protocol is device agnostic by design, so the wire format carries no signal that distinguishes a Garmin Forerunner from a soldered Arduino. The OAuth token proves the physicist owns the account. The rate limit confirms the account is not flooding, but neither gate asks whether the activity is biologically possible. The API responds with HTTP status 201 created. The response body contains an upload ID. The client pulls the upload status endpoint. Status field: your activity is being processed. 20 seconds later, your activity is ready. Activity ID 112233445. 5 assigned. The hamster is now a permanent entry in Strava's activity database. Real athletes upload from Garmin watches, Wahoo Bike computers, Polar heart rate monitors, and Coros GPS units. Every device speaks the fit protocol. The Hamster's microcontroller generates the same binary format. Strava cannot tell the difference between a Garmin Forerunner and a soldered Arduino because the wire format is identical. Both emit a binary fit header with magic bytes.fit. Both encode timestamp records as 32-bit epoch seconds. Both write distance fields as little endian unsigned integers scaled by 100. The only signal that distinguishes legitimate from implausible is the semantic content of those fields, and Strava does not read it. To catch implausible uploads, Strava would need to add a semantic validation layer between syntax check and storage. Speed plausibility. Flag distance per hour outside 3 to 15 miles per hour for runs. GPS coordinate variance. Reject uploads where every point is identical or every coordinate is 0. Biometric presence. Warn when heart rate is absent on activities longer than 1 hour. Account anomaly scoring. Flag user accounts with repeated statistical outliers. None of this infrastructure exists today. The upload endpoint accepts any structurally valid fit file and commits it to the database without asking whether the data inside describes a plausible athletic performance. Current validation flow. Upload arrives at the endpoint. Syntax check verifies file structure. Rate limit check confirms quota. Activity stored in database. No semantic plausibility gate exists between parsing and persistence. A hardened flow would insert a new gate. Check speed against activity type. Verify GPS coordinate variance, flag missing biometrics on long activities, and route statistical outliers to manual review before committing to storage. The OAuth flow proves the physicist owns the Strava account. The fit file proves the data conforms to the protocol specification. The rate limit proves the account is not flooding the API, but none of those proofs answer the question: is this activity physically possible? Structural validation passes. Semantic validation does not run. The system has no concept of plausible versus implausible. It knows what a valid fit file looks like. It does not know what a valid run looks like. Stripe validates card bins against Loon checksums and issuer ranges. Plaid validates bank routing numbers against ABA lookup tables. Auth 0 validates redirect URIs against pre-registered patterns. Cloudflare validates TLS certificates against CT logs. Strava validates fit files against a schema and stops. Payment APIs distrust money. Identity APIs distrust redirects. Certificate authorities distrust certificates. Strava trusts distance. A well-formed lie passes as easily as the truth, because Strava validates structure, not reality. 10 miles logged by a hamster. 4 structural validation checks performed. 0 semantic plausibility gates deployed. 1 rodent athlete now permanently recorded in the Strava database. Now go rig your goldfish bowl. The API will not stop you.